Well, it's noon here in Bethesda, Maryland, and 9 a.m. in Southern California. And this is news that you can use from YAA with your hosts, Zach and Ray. And well, apparently, Zach is having a bad hair day.
Bad hair day indeed, Pops. How are you doing? Happy Monday.
I am well. I think I might be a little bit better than you because if it were me, I would have scheduled this damn show for, well, I don't know, 9 a.m. Pacific time, not 9 p.m.
I'm getting off maybe the flu, not COVID. I'm a little under the weather. It's a little earlier here, so
Yeah.
sorry for screwing up the showtime. Also, rough hair day, really tragic hair day, but that's okay. We'll be back tomorrow and it'll be better. Dad, things are going bad this morning for me. Things are going
Yeah.
worse for the automotive industry. The chip shortage is rearing its ugly head once again. We'll kick the show off talking about that, and then Ford with some interesting Friday evening news that I thought we'd talk about as well, extending their deadline for their dealers when it comes to moving towards all EVs. I thought those two topics plus some chat messages, we could have ourselves a nice Monday show. How's it sound?
Sounds good to me. And you will still have most of your morning when we're done.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
also, friendly reminder, saw this message here from Todd. I joined on Saturday finally. Dad, today is the last day. The
Get your
truly
promo
last
in.
day.
Go. Get
Dad,
the
I mean, do
promo
you
in.
do you think we're going to do another 50% off promotion? Because I really can't imagine we do. YAA Plus membership, it ends today. 50% off if you become a YAA Plus member. And again, YAA Plus includes all of the help we can give you for buying a car, which it's now a bit of a buyer's market. So we're here to help there, help you save money. Also, the discounts on maintenance and repairs, members only pricing on insurance and warranties too. And we have an additional $100 off right now for the vehicle service contract, the extended warranty. That ends today as well. So join YAA.com. But Dad, let's jump into the chip shortage
May I
news.
say one thing first? May I say one thing? Um, I'm pretty sure your investors would have a chat with you if you said, "Hey, I want to run the 50% off promotion again."
Yeah, it's not the most
Yeah.
lucrative thing, but it's good. It's helping us. We've had over 700 people join YAA Plus this month, so we're super excited and proud
Well,
to build the membership there.
yes.
It pays for itself, which is great. Chip shortage, Pops. Lots
Okay.
of news this morning. What's going on?
Apparently, um, there were almost 300,000 vehicles removed from production last week or going into this week due to at this point, I'm going to say due to the alleged chip shortage. Because, we have heard in the past that the chips are more available today than they had been. And so I'm not entirely sure that these vehicles that are being removed from production really have to do with a chip shortage as much as they just might have to do with a slowdown in sales shortage and with inventory slightly building up. So I think personally, I believe this is a smokescreen and excuse in order to remove another 289,000 vehicles from production. Now, if I may, our dear
Let's hear
friend
it.
Igor would like them to take, I don't know, another million or so out because he's got a bet that there's going to be 5 to 7 million vehicles lost to production this year. And right now we're sitting at the projection, I think, is a little over 4 million.
Yep. So let's pull up on the screen, Dad. So as you're saying, Auto Forecast Solutions added nearly 300,000 vehicles. Europe hit the hardest this time around. But your point is super interesting because I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but you're officially, I think, siding on. We have heard folks say there is no longer a chip shortage. We have heard folks say there is a chip shortage. You're planting the seed here that you think automakers are intentionally not producing as many vehicles as they could. Am I hearing you correctly?
You are hearing me correctly. They are using the well-known chip shortage from the past as an excuse to not produce cars now. As we know, General Motors recently came out and said that they have 3 times the on-hand inventory at
Inventory.
dealerships right now compared to the same time last year. Um, Manufacturers are not blind. They can see that sales have slowed down. they can see that inventories are starting to build up again at their dealerships. They have also seen that even though when they were producing less vehicles, it was more profitable for them because they didn't have to invest in incentives to move those vehicles at a retail level. So my guess is they're sitting around going, we can still use the excuse that it's a chip issue. We can control the amount of inventory that our dealers will have. We can keep our incentive spend at a minimum, and we can continue to reap the profits of forcing customers to buy our higher end, more expensive, higher profit margin vehicles. And it helps the dealers because the dealers won't have to discount the vehicles as much because there'll still be a shortage.
You know what also corroborates what you're sharing, Dad, was I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, all of the different Taiwanese semiconductor corporations came out and said demand has slumped. For the latest
Yep.
quarter, demand has slumped. So how can you pair together, we have a chip shortage and we can't get enough chips, with the chip makers saying we actually have demand falling now? The only logical outcome is what you've described, which is I think Justice is actually the one hitting the nail on the head here. I don't do conspiracy, and yeah, this seems intentional, maybe not 100% on the up and up. It's not 100% on the up and up. It's more profitable to restrict inventory, and now we're going to see this as an excuse to do that.
I think it's a handy excuse for the manufacturers, and they're utilizing that excuse. They don't want to come out and say we prefer to have smaller inventory levels both at the dealership and at the manufacturing side of things because it's more profitable for us to do it that way. They don't want to come out and just say that. So the excuse, and I believe there was another article, where they're already planting the seeds for 2023 that the chip shortage is going to continue. And we know because we've read elsewhere, and you just mentioned it, that there's a slump in chip sales. And we also know that the chip manufacturers don't really like to produce the chips that are used for automobiles because they are the lowest profit margin chips that they build or that they manufacture. But still, it's an excuse. It's an absolute excuse. And they're planting the seeds for that excuse to be able to continue through 2023. It is their way to take advantage of consumers, both here in the United States and abroad.
And do you think this is happening now in part because demand has fallen off as sharply as it has? Hey, we realize that actually there's going to be too much inventory. I mean, there already is in some circumstances for like RAM, for example. Stellantis has been determined to flood the market with RAM products, and they're selling at invoice price practically. So do you think this is happening, Dad, because you can read the tea leaves if you're an executive at a big automotive company and say, you know what? We're going to need to find a way to either increase consumer demand, which means incentive spend again. But hey, we haven't had to do that for a while and it's way more profitable. Or we got to get even shorter and shorter inventory levels, smaller and smaller inventory levels. And they're looking at that and that's the lever we want to pull.
Every major manufacturer that sells cars in this country has a captive lender. They know very well that the amount of applications for new car financing is down. They know it's down for used cars. They know it's down for new cars. So it doesn't take a lot to read the tea leaves. All you have to do is look at the data that is provided to them from their captive lenders. Was it Ally the other day, that said loan applications were down considerably in the last quarter? Well,
and GM Financial as well, Dad.
Yeah, and so that tells you everything you need to know. So if you're a manufacturer and you can read the data and not the tea leaves, but you can read the actual data that shows you that there are less loan applications that they're processing because there's fewer people in the market, well, then why wouldn't you want to cut back your production And since you have the well-known excuse of the microchip shortage, let's just blame it on that. And I don't know that it's a conspiracy theory. I think it's just a an actuality of what's going on. It is a result of what is going on, and so it's just the excuse that they've chosen to work with.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Zach, it all comes down to cutting production costs and doing production based on orders, not flooding dealers with inventory. We are witnessing the transition of the dealership model right before our eyes, and the OEMs are the ones that are actually driving the transition. It's not, I mean, and I guess you could say the dealers are too because they've found a way to make more money than ever before
Sure.
as well. But that's what's happening is the transition's happening right before our eyes.
I read recently that the average new car gross profit at new car dealerships today is around $5,000 per
That's
car.
insane. That's insane.
$5,000 per car. I can tell you that just 3 years ago, the average new car gross profit at new car dealerships in the United States was somewhere between $200 and $300. New car departments oftentimes were a loser for a lot of dealerships. And the only reason dealers wanted to be new car dealers was so that they could build up their parts and service business, not so that they could actually make money on the sale of new cars. And what has transpired over the last 3 years is everybody has now figured out, guess what? We can make a boatload of money per new car sold if we don't have a lot of new cars for people to choose from.
Yeah, we are seeing it day in and day out. That's exactly how it works, and that's how it will work. Although Stellantis
Yes.
and Ram, I think, are the one brand that's maybe going to play hardball here and say, "Nope, we're going for market share. We are just going to flood the inventory, flood the industry with as much inventory as possible. We'll do discounts, we'll do incentives, and we're going to see if that works." They're the one that I think is holding out on things going back to the way they were pre-pandemic.
Yeah, but they're also the ones that have come out and already said for 2023, chip chips are going to be an issue. They've already said it for the Jeep brand. They're already setting the table for constrained manufacturing of their vehicles so they can hold the prices higher. It's it that was the first article I put on the show topics
Yep,
list for
yep, I
today.
saw it.
And
Yep,
it's
yep.
and it's Stellantis. Okay. Stellantis is the one that says, you know what? Everybody else is paying less than $1,000 per sale in incentives, and we're paying $3,000. What are we doing wrong? They know what they're doing wrong. They've produced too many cars, and they're already saying, oh, there's going to be a chip issue for
Yep.
2023. We're
You're
not going to
right,
be
you're
able to
right.
produce those cars.
Now, we are gonna touch on this in today's Really You've Gotta Be Kidding Me. We have an incredible about 60-second video that we're going to watch because we have a question like this, but will the quality improve from Juan? And to be fair, there are quite a few vehicles that haven't been able to be produced. Ford still has about 40,000 sitting around or 30,000. GM has
Hmm.
25,000 sitting around. We're gonna hit. I mean, it is not ideal for vehicles to be sitting around not making it to the consumer's hands at the dealership's lot. And we got a great, really, you gotta be kidding me, that touches on that. So stay tuned for that. But Pops, before we go there, can we
Yes.
please talk about the Friday night news drop from our friends over at Ford? This is a big one, and I don't think it's going to get as much attention as it should. Ford postpones deadline for dealers to decide on EV investment. Dealers will get an extra month to decide whether to spend up to 1.2 million on chargers and other chargers, and other upgrades the automaker is requiring for certification to sell EVs after 2023. And for those that are unfamiliar, Dad, this is
Yes.
Ford's biggest push away from the traditional dealer model in the sense that you don't have inventory. The price is the price. If you want to sell EVs, you're going to have to do it the new way. And they have now postponed the deadline to decide if you're going to do that by a month, which I think is significant.
Oh, it's significant only because there must be so much pushback from their dealer body as to the expense involved and as to the amount of control over inventory that Ford will have. Um, and and so I would say that the amount of dealerships that have said, "Yep, we're in," is a lot smaller than what Ford had thought the case would be.
That's
And
exactly what I thought as well, Dad. It just means they couldn't convince enough people to say, "Yeah, we're on board with this." And you've also got to weigh the fact that the economic climate, like for dealers, sure is great, but looking forward, it seems a little bit sketchy. So, do you really want to put $1 million in? I I had the same exact read on it as you did.
well, and the Pennsylvania Ford dealers have sent Ford a letter. They want to discuss the entire business model with Ford because in Pennsylvania the dealer body's not buying in on, well, we're not going to give you cars, we're going to control the pricing. They're not in on this at all. So I think it's going to be a real issue for Ford moving forward because the number of dealers that have just said, "Yeah, we're in," is much, much lower than what they thought it was going to be. It's going to be much harder for Ford to reinvent how vehicles are sold through dealerships than I think they initially had thought.
And Dad, to be fair, it's not just Pennsylvania. I mean, let's look at this here. Separately, a group of automotive trade association executives representing associations in Virginia and 11 other southern states this week asked Ford to, quote, reconsider the Ford Model E program as it is currently described, saying it, quote, includes unreasonable restrictions on dealer autonomy. Model E is the name of the EV division that Farley created this year, and he is the president of that as well. Excuse me, Dad. And you can see here, essentially, it's just going to set up different rules that are very different from how dealerships have traditionally operated. I don't think this is a good sign for this new. We're going to, automakers, we're just going to set up an EV side of the business. They're going to operate differently. Don't worry about us. And to be fair, Volkswagen's tried to do this with Scout. We've got Ford here with Model E.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see other automakers go down this path as well. But we're first signs of resistance, first signs of it not working quite as planned.
Yeah, and you know what? Um, if I were a dealer, and I'm
Yeah.
not, but if I were a dealer and I had the millions of dollars invested that I already have invested in my facility, and for the manufacturer to say to me, "Well, if you want to be part of our EV sales, you need to invest 1 million too," because at the $600,000 level, you get nothing. Okay,
Yeah. You're just
you
paying
can only
600,000 for nothing.
yeah, you basically get to order vehicles that are pre-sold. Otherwise, you will not have any inventory of electric vehicles at all. So if it's going to be that constrained, what they're really telling you is, well, you got to invest 1 million too. And if I already have $15 million invested in my facility, and somebody's going to tell me I got to invest another 1 million too, and they're still going to try and control how I sell the car, what I can sell the car for. Well, you know what? I'm not quite as in on that as they would like me to believe. Or as they would like to believe that I would be. I'm not. And I can see why dealers would be up in arms and not want to just throw another 1 million too into their investment, especially when we don't know how successful those EVs are going to be moving forward. We just it is it's almost a pig in a poke, as the old saying goes. It's uh, I don't know. I wouldn't be in on it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I hear you, Dad. I hear you. Shall we keep going on the Ford side of things for a moment here? Because I think I got a really good relief. You've got to be kidding me.
Okay,
You're on board for that?
if you say so.
Here it goes. Oop.
Really? You
You've
gotta
got to
be
be
kidding
kidding me.
me.
You could hear that, right? You could hear it this time?
I could. Yeah, yeah.
I like the way that works. All right, give me a second here, Pops. I'm going to pull it up on the screen, and we're both going to watch this. This was sent in to us from a community member. Can you hear that, Pops?
I can, and I love this ad, whatever it's for.
Give me a second. We'll get through the ad.
Okay.
All right, so this video was sent in to us. Let me jump ahead right about
delivered You will not believe what he found under the hood of this F-150.
So we just got a brand new 22 F-150 off of the transport truck. Part of one of the problems with these trucks sitting.
That's my note to pay. Is that thing alive? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That'll be enough publishing other people.
All right. So here you go, Dad. Essentially, someone took delivery of a new 2022 Ford F-150, and in the engine bay was a rodent, was an animal. Like,
Yes.
and it's on YouTube. Like, it's not just us talking about it. Like, this is what happens. This is a really got to be kidding me, right? This is what happens when things just sit around.
Oh no, Ford's spin on it will be, well, who's to say they didn't just place that live rodent in there so that they could make this video? That's what Ford will say. But I am telling you, when vehicles sit and they are not moved, and they are especially on lots, dirt lots, rodents they look at them and they go, oh, new condos. Okay, new condos, no down payment, no monthly payment. We're in. And the whole damn family moves into their brand new Ford condo. Okay, that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens. Okay, and you know what they think? Oh my God, the refrigerator's filled with wires, and there's good stuff to eat. There's warmth. We've got protection from the rain and the snow. I mean, these are. I would move into a condo like that that's got all the food you'd ever want, all the protection from the elements that you'd ever want, and no monthly payment. I mean, who wouldn't want a housing situation quite like that?
You're hilarious, man. Laura here saying I sent you an Instagram photo this weekend. Zach drove by the Speedway in Kentucky. Trucks are parked in every lot and even on the dirt hills that back to the interstate, miles of them. And so this is interesting because it goes directly in juxtaposition with what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, which is the automakers coming out and saying, starting to plant seeds, hey, inventories are going to be short again so that we can raise prices. There are still some shortages, Dad, right? Like there have to be some shortages still. They wouldn't just have these cars sitting around, right?
Yes. Well, that's true. But there was a comment, or I think it was on one of the YouTube channels of ours. And a gentleman actually said, well, wouldn't Ford be better off taking these vehicles that are sitting and certifying them and selling them as low mileage certified used cars? And I thought to myself, that's an interesting concept, except, well, if you do that, you have even greater warranty exposure because certified cars come with a longer warranty. And I thought to myself, would Ford be better off just scrapping the vehicles? Is there a tax benefit to scrapping the vehicles, saying that there were manufacturing issues or whatever, and it's lost production for whatever reason, and you get some type of tax write-off for that, as opposed to increasing your cost by certifying it and have to warranty it longer? I am not an accountant. I've never played an accountant on TV, and I haven't recently stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, but I am guessing that there must be some type of tax benefit to writing vehicles like that off, as opposed to forcing the dealers to take them, or putting an even longer warranty on it. I don't see that happen.
And you've got, Susanna's reminding us maybe even insurance claims that Ford could make. I don't know how that would work, but you've got to be thinking there's some creative folks that are trying to make the most of this situation where they do have lots of vehicles like this 2022 F-150 that has an opossum in it. I mean, like, no one wants that. That's not good for the customer. It's not good for the dealer. It's not good for Ford. And also, Pops, these vehicles have just been sitting there not only for the animals that can get in it, the flat spots on the tires, the fact that the batteries may or may not work. Like, there are serious issues that come up when vehicles just sit around. And so you've got to imagine. Yeah. Go ahead.
It always amazed me at the dealership level of the amount of lot rot that happens just by having a car sitting. I don't necessarily understand it. I don't understand how and why it happens, but it does. I mean, um, I can't use the term I want to use, but the poop just starts falling apart. I mean, the stuff that goes on, it's like incredible. So when you take thousands of vehicles and you just have them, I'm telling you, the rodents look at that as they built a new condominium complex for us. And
This
you
is
can
like
go out
equal
whenever
parts
you
funny
want.
and sad, Dad.
Oh my God. And they have hiking trails, they have everything. They have they have all types of activities right outside the hood. I mean, where does it get better? Tell me.
Probably at GM's equivalent Dirt Mountain. I don't know. I'm more of a G. No, I'm just kidding, Pops. All right, let's do this, Dad. Thank you everyone for joining us here today. It is fantastic to be back. Although actually we had one question from Richard I want to pull up first. Do you
Okay.
get grief from car companies giving us this info? I don't think you get grief from folks, do you, Dad?
Somebody asked me, I don't know if it was Richard, but somebody asked me if I get grief from my friends in the car business for sharing the insights that we share. And honestly, I think about it, and I've never gotten a call from any of my friends going, "What are you doing?" Okay. I think they actually applaud us for doing it, because most of the people that have been in the business a long time, they would rather find a way to make it easier. They're really not looking for ways to make it harder. So they appreciate the fact that we're trying to make it easier, not only for the consumers, but we're trying to give dealerships good reasons to do it in a more customer centric manner, so that there won't be as much time, effort, and energy wasted when it comes to buying or selling a car.
And Pops, fortunately, as we expand the business, it's not just dealers. I mean, we do this now in the insurance space, the warranty space, maintenance and repairs as well. So we're trying to spread our wings and our message of make things easier and be less convoluted across the board. And again, friendly reminder, the YAA Plus membership, it's $120 a year, 50% off, ends this evening, Dad, at midnight. So please go ahead, use the 50 off code before then, or you can do both if you'd really like. The $100 Treat 100 offer for the vehicle service contract, the extended warranty, that ends tonight as well, Dad. So if you're not a part of the YAA community, now is definitely the time to do it. These promotions go away at the end of the night. And I do not think we're doing another 50% promotion, maybe ever. I don't know if we can afford it. So please take advantage of it.
Well, I hope everyone has a good night trick-or-treating. I hope everybody enjoys Halloween, and take advantage of the treats that we have for you that expire at midnight Pacific time. Or is that midnight Hawaiian time? I don't know. But
I'm looking it up now, Dad. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, but whatever you do, don't cross the international date line, because then you're definitely screwed. But it's all treats, no tricks, from your friends here at YAA through the end of the day today.
Maybe we will do 50% off for Black Friday. That's a great idea, Susanna. Thanks for mentioning it. But don't expect us to. So do it today. Don't do it then, because we might not. Oh, Cyber Monday. Maybe we'll do 50%. Okay, I don't know.
Oh my God, it's all BS.
Pops, so glad to be able to do this with you. I noticed you don't have your green screen up, and neither do I. I think we got to get you out here, man. I think you'd enjoy the mountains.
I gotta tell you, I am loving your setting. I'm loving your background. I would love to be sitting at that table next to you, in that type of a setting, as opposed to staring out at a rainy, cloudy, miserable-looking Wisconsin Avenue here in Bethesda.
Well, I know you're not sitting next to me, but you know who is today?
Peanut. So, yeah, I knew Peanut was there.
a dog?
Yeah.
Is that how you hold dog? I don't
No.
know. And Laura.
Oh, and Laura is sitting next to
Like
you.
you've never held a dog before.
Yeah, I'm not good with dogs or babies, but that's okay. We'll work on it.
Well,
Um,
all your dogs were bigger than that.
Oh, and let's answer Aaron's question really quick, Pops. How does YA's extended warranty compare to Honda Care? Any hassles getting approvals? We haven't had really any issues with AUL. I think we had one instance so far. So Aaron, I can't tell you exactly how they compare side by side. I'd have to like actually do the research, and I don't want to make something up on the show. We've had one instance that I'm aware of with AUL so far, where the shop, we would only pay the list price of a part that the shop was charging about a 300% markup on. And so we just helped the customer find another shop to go to, and then everything was covered. So yeah, everything's been good with AUL and with the extended warranty. We've got over 1,000 people, Dad, that have purchased their extended warranty with us, and we've paid out well over $100,000 in claims, which is great to see as well. So no issues on that front.
Well, that's good to know. Will you and I be back here tomorrow, or will it
Yep,
be me?
yep.
Huh?
No, I'll be back with you
Okay.
tomorrow. I'm looking
Okay,
forward to it.
so we'll be back here again tomorrow at noon Eastern or 9 Pacific time, where Zach is, with more news that you can use from YAA. I do
All right.
believe.
I love you, Pops. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And yeah, talk to you tomorrow.
Love you too, handsome. Please feel better. Some chicken soup will help the cold.
Thank you, Dad. See you guys.
See you, everybody. Thanks for being here.